righty. Got a drink in hand. I think I got everything off the checklist. We're here for season 5. I think I got everything. Hold on. Oh, shit. Hold on.
I forgive you.
I didn't know that line was going to be said, and I liked that it was that line because I do forgive you guys. No, I do forgive you. It's a great line.
Oh, I forgot about this.
Yeah, I almost did. Yeah. Welcome back to the Almost Sideshow, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Adam. That is Terry, and we are back. Season 5, the first part of season 5, I should say, episode 1, titled "Live Free or Die."
Breakdown of Breaking Bad.
Yes, we will be breaking down Breaking Bad. It's a new season. I'm excited. I forgot the main intro since the first episode of this sideshow project has begun, but it's finally here, and yeah, I'm excited for season 5. To see, especially...
That's why I'm here, folks.
Okay. Anyway, Terry, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
Oh,
Exciting.
season 5. It is. And I don't know this season near as well as I know the other ones, so this is going to be kind of fun. I've seen the first half this season twice. Or maybe, yeah, I think twice. Maybe more. The second half of the season I've only seen once. I know that. So, yeah, and we'll talk a little bit about it as we go through, but this is definitely the start of something new, you can tell.
This is true. I there's some things I like. I'm very intrigued to discuss with you. There's some other parts that are like, what? It doesn't make sense, but we'll dive into it for sure. And I think this season we might actually have a certain first time guest appear on the show. Eventually, we're counting down until Zach Saltz appears on the sideshow, so that's exciting. But anyway,
oh boy, we might need to cut this out.
That's for a later date. But anyway, dive into that synopsis, Terry.
All right, let's hear it. Here we go. Season 5, episode 1 of Breaking Bad is entitled "Live Free or Die."
And it did air July 15th, 2012.
There we go. Thank you for
getting
that in there.
I remembered.
Yay! All right. Here we go. Here's our synopsis. We start the final season of Breaking Bad right where we ended season 4. It's over. We're safe. I won. So, what's next? Destroying evidence, of course. Walt starts with his own house where bomb-making materials are all over the kitchen. He loads them all into a garbage bag and puts it in the car. Oh yeah, can't forget the potted plant he used to poison Brock. That's gotta go. Oh yeah, one last thing. Cameras. Gus had cameras on everyone, and it's all on his laptop that is now in APD evidence lockup. It's a good thing Walt thought of it, because Hank is realizing there were cameras all over the lab that matches Gail Bedeker's lab book. At this point, we see the return of 2 favorites, Mike and Ted. First, Ted. Hey, he's alive and awake, which might be a problem.
It might be a problem.
The damage has been done to his body, and he swears to Skyler he will never talk about what really happened. So that's taken care of. Now, Mike. He's still in Mexico when he hears Gus is dead. He immediately hops in a car and drives back to New Mexico, where Walt and Jesse meet him. His new relationship with Jesse is the only reason he doesn't shoot both of them at first sight. Walt and Jesse need Mike's help, either stealing or destroying the laptop. Mike wants to get out of town and run, but he's talked into being part of a plan to destroy the laptop from outside the building, using an industrial-sized magnet from our friend at the salvage yard. It works. The laptop and several other things are destroyed, but there's a hint that something new may have just been uncovered. The trio drive off, and Walt is feeling way too good about himself. He's king now. he orders around Mike and Jesse and Saul, who stole the ricin, by the way, and forgives Skylar, who really didn't do anything wrong. Oh, yeah, one last thing. Where did the hair and machine gun and the New Hampshire license for Mr. Lambert come from? Stay tuned, I guess.
That's for a later date, I would say. One of those iconic and
Later date.
notorious Breaking Bad staples of the show. Flash forwards and hints probably. But anyway, we are talking about this episode. Yeah, damn you. Denny's is still around. It's American institution. It was kind of a missed opportunity. The waitress wasn't named Judy. But this episode was really interesting because there's a lot of stuff going on here. Also, we saw one of my favorite minor characters from last season as well. Lawson appears in the opening here, giving out some nice car keys to Mr. Lambert. Cool to see him back there as well. But the main show here, it's cool to see Mike back because that was one of the big things that the kind of the end of season 4 was really truly missing, was like what was happening with Mike in Mexico here.
It was a convenient absence.
Yeah, it was a very convenient absence for sure. But we do get to see him here. It definitely plays on. And then when he shows up, it's like, oh yes, heck yeah, and he hops in the car, and it's like, oh crap, he's going after going after Walt and Jesse. That's gonna
because he totally knows how Gus would end up dead.
Correct. Yeah. So I was like, that's crazy. My mouth dropped on that. And then they're going to work together and like, oh crap, that's right. The laptop. And I totally forgot about the laptop being in play here. So that was all fun. I love seeing old Joe. Old Joe. I love old Joe. Thank you, Zach. But anyway, old Joe is great. I love seeing him back in this show again, because that one scene that he was in like what, season 2, season 3?
Yes, it was season 3.
Season 3, the death, R.I.P. RV. But that it was great to see him there. Good little cameo there.
Private domicile.
Yeah, private domicile. Yeah. So seeing him back here was awesome as well. I thought his scenes really stood out here for me for comedic purposes. And then we got to see some interesting stuff with the Walter White kind of becoming the Heisenberg character, the alter ego of Walt in this scene, where he's feeling a little too big for his britches because now he is the new fring here. And then the Skylar stuff too is interesting, especially with Beneke. And then you had Saul Goodman also channeling his inner Marie. We're wearing a purple suit, so
that's a good call.
Yeah, that's kind of one of my takeaways here. Walter Jr. also being way too happy to, play the T. I love the little tidbit. He said, "Yeah, and Uncle Hank took me to the restaurant that he worked at. We were totally staking out the place." And Walt's like, "What?" that was a great little nugget there.
Walter Jr. Yeah, he's just happy that his Uncle Hank is a hero now.
Hero again, even more.
He's a teenager. He loves the excitement of it all, and now that he knows he's safe, he can get excited about it. Exactly. Yeah, you definitely see there is a lot more Heisenberg than Walter White now.
Yeah,
and that shows up several times throughout this episode. I feel like season 5 almost feels like a new show, because we just spent 2 whole seasons and a couple episodes going through this dance of Walt versus Gus, right? Even season 3, there was a little bit of, they were sizing each other up, and there was an adversarial relationship there. And now he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a brand new show, right? Where do we go from here? It's kind of like it almost did the same thing when Tuco was gone, right? It's like, well, Tuco's gone. Well, now what? Now where do we go? But this is, half the show so far has been dedicated to this relationship between Walt and Gus, and now Gus is gone. And what's going to happen moving forward? And uh, I've seen, like I said, I've seen it all. Season 5 feels like a new show, and
Mm.
it changes. Like we're so used to the intensity of the season 4 Walt versus Gus, and it was just ramping up, ramping up, ramping up, ramping up. This one feels different, right? This episode feels different. There's a different vibe there. Um, there's an intensity to it, but there's not the intensity that we just spent an entire season building.
Mhm.
It feels a little more playful, kind of like what season 3 or maybe even season 2, more season 3 felt like. And you have but then on top of it you have this unsettling persona that Walt is adopting that is kind of throwing everything off. Like he
Mhm.
feels like he can order Mike around now. Like what? Um because I said so? Like what is he doing? So it's we're starting a new season and it you can truly tell it's a brand new day.
Mm. Yeah, that's very true. I'm not too thrilled with the turn that Walt's taking. I think that's what my wife was saying as well. That it's like it wasn't even his plan to use magnet to begin with. So it's like he's taking credit for that. Great scene too, by the way. Magnets, yo. Yeah,
Yeah, bitch,
bitch,
magnets.
magnets. Great Jesse season 1 dialogue. I love it. Um, but yeah, it's like it was Jesse's plan essentially, and yeah, he just science the shit out of it essentially. But like that's all he really did. Like it was Jesse's really his idea, and they just kind of spun off of it. Um,
Well,
and
that's not the first time it's happened, right? I
yeah,
mean,
like Jesse
he
gets like kind of
Jesse it was Jesse's idea to build a battery in the middle of the desert with the RV.
yeah,
So, he has the ideas, Walt just knows how to execute them.
yeah, he knows how to science it. So
Mhm. Yeah. Um, oh, there was something else I was gonna say with all this too, and I think it's gone. So,
mm,
let's just get into it because one of the things that you just mentioned is my best scene. And my
mm,
best scene is and it may not be the one that you think it is. My best scene is when they're debating what to do with the laptop. And because
yeah,
it gives that playful dialogue where Mike and Walt are going at it. It's like, what are we gonna do? We gonna set a bomb off at the police department? It's like, no, no, but I'm gonna what about a device? So it'd start just a small you don't think they have fire suppressant in there? Hey, what about a magnet?
yeah, nylon, yeah,
And he
yeah.
has to say it like 4 or 5 times. "Oh, guys, what about a magnet?" And, like, and it just keeps like, the dialogue in there, and it just keeps ramping up, and then finally he says it loud enough that they actually stop. Like, "What? What about a magnet? What
This might
about a
work.
magnet?" This might work, exactly, yeah. I love that that's such a great scene, and everything with the magnets is cool too, but just the
Yeah.
way that those 3 like, you can definitely tell it's like Mike and Walter, like, the adults are talking right now, and Jesse's like, "Hey, man, I'm incendiary too," and he has to get in on the conversation, so I love
My
that scene.
wife was like, "That's how I feel. I'm Jesse in this scene. That's how I feel sometimes." It's
It's a
great.
good call, it's a good call.
That's a great scene too. My favorite scene is another one that probably wasn't somebody's first choice here. Gotta go with Old Joe. Old Joe explaining the magnets and then kind of going into the like, well, it's expensive to use, this thing gonna cost a lot of money, but it's good. Yeah, I guess so. We can we'll figure something
The
out here. And then
practical part is I need it.
yeah,
It's
the
paying the bills.
go part. That's exactly what it is. Great. And then that's like, and one of the outcomes is Miller time. And then Mike when they're doing the test, he's like, I see a lot of outcomes, and none of them end in Miller time. That's just
Hey, hey,
it's great.
PMA, positive mental attitude.
Yeah, PMA. Yeah.
I mentioned it before we started recording, but it's funny that old Joe is talking about having a positive mental attitude when the other show he was on, he was known as Mr. Heckles, uh, in Friends. So I could be Chandler.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could be Chandler. It's a good one.
So it's just funny how he's kind of come full circle now. Like he's the ray of positivity.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
You can start from one place. Now you're here. Yeah, I just like old Joe, man. I think like his lines and his like he kind of plays off all three of the personalities pretty well. And he's like, "Can we get 21 more, or can we get 21 more batteries?" And he's like, he gives it the thumbs up. He's like, he's doing the math. He's like, "Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we're good."
mhm, mhm.
Yeah, it's just good stuff. I really. He's like, let's hope that the freaking axle or the axle doesn't come through the truck when you
Yeah.
turn it on. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. All right. The Ken Wins Bogdan douchebag award goes to.
Beneke. Let's keep it moving. Keep it moving.
Oh, that's just sad.
No, it in this context, it is pretty sad. But right when he mentioned his name, I all capsed it in my notes, Beneke. And I was like, "Oh, Ted's back."
Ted's
And it's like,
dead?
Ted's
No,
dead. No,
he's
worse. He woke
awake.
up. He woke up. Which it plays a part that Bill Burr and Huel are really bad at knowing if people are dead. They could be borderline LVPs for this episode because he's still
Hey,
alive.
they never said he was dead. They never said he was dead. They just said it was an act of God.
Okay, well that's okay.
We never heard anything. You assumed he was dead. We never heard anything about Ted after he ran his head into the stone.
I hate how much of the logic of that conversation you just said checks out. Damn it. Good call. Okay, touche. They never
And
said he was
and
dead.
every time I mentioned it, I was not going to correct you. 'Cause, like that may be what you think, but
You're not a jerk, I guess. For
I
that.
I forgot that it wasn't until season 5 that we found out Beneke's fate. I thought it was going to pop up sometime at the end of season 4, but no, it was season 5,
Okay.
episode 1. All right. My douchebag, I feel like this is the only answer here. It's Heisenberg. Like
Yeah, yeah,
this
you're
is
right. It's
yeah.
Heisenberg.
I
Very
mean,
apparent at the end of the season.
and you're getting not only are you getting his douchiness of the end of this episode where he is feeling like he is the high and mighty, you know, glorious being above them all. But I what does he think? He's the Godfather? I forgive you, because I said so. It's gonna work. Um, but
Even the way he sits in chairs is different.
oh, and
Yeah.
and how he's got his 2 chauffeurs, Mike and Jesse, while he sits in the middle of the back seat, just kind of looking around. He's like, yeah, I got this.
Yeah.
It's done. It's done. You don't have to worry about anything anymore. I got it.
Yeah. And
Why?
he's
Because I
sitting
said it's done.
yeah. In Saul's office too, like
Oh,
he's just sitting totally different than anything else. He's like, wait, so you didn't think about calling me? Okay.
and how you see Saul just shrivel up into a
He's
ball of
like,
himself.
yeah, we're
It's
done when
yeah,
I say we're done.
and he just looks down, looks away, doesn't. Oh, that's a great scene too.
Yeah, it's
Um,
really good.
but you have everything from that to all the confirmations you get of what happened at the end of season 4, right? You get the confirmations that yeah, he poisoned Brock because he's got a
In
throwaway
the
plan.
right thing.
You
Yeah.
find out that the ricin he told Saul to swipe the cigarette off of him. Um,
You know how hard it is with Huel's hot dog fingers? He could have
mhm,
snapped it.
could have killed the whole office.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's so many things in this that he just is horrible in this episode, but effective, kind of.
Horrible but effective.
Kind of. I don't know if you could call, forgiving Skylar effective. That yeah. Okay, the Pinkman Stickman Award. I'm going with magnets, bitch.
Okay,
Um,
I originally had that down too, but
because I mean, nothing in this episode is more attractive than that giant magnet.
giant magnet,
So,
yeah, and it literally penetrates the wall with its
mhm,
force. Yeah,
it was rocking that truck.
Yeah, that's when the trucks are knocking, there's a magnet at work.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's a good call. But I also thought of something that literally was in somebody. That's Ted Bennicke's Halo brace. That's the biggest stick man. It's the Halo brace, literally in his head
That's true.
and in his spine. Yeah. So not as good as the answer as magnets, but his Halo brace is what we'll say for this one.
Best new face. Hey, that's Danny Trejo.
Didn't get her name. I checked on the Wikipedia as well. Lucy, the Denny's waitress.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, she did say she was Lucy. Yeah.
Right. I saw her name tag. Confirmed it to her name tag. But yeah, Lucy is the best new face here. The waitress at Denny's, super
Played by
friendly.
Monique Candelaria.
Oh, you found her. Okay. Good.
She's on IMDb.
Okay. Well, that's the one page I didn't look. So
Once you know her name is Lucy, you can find out who
you
plays
can
her.
find a lot easier that way. But yeah, so I thought she was really good as probably one of the better waitresses that we've seen in this show so far. So
She's a
good
pretty great
shout out to her.
waitress.
Pretty good
Um,
waitress. Yeah.
yeah, I
She works the
I
bar at Denny's though, which is weird. In that one table.
yeah. So I yeah, that is the Denny's bar is always a good one. Um,
Yeah.
but I remembered what I was going to say earlier. The point I was going to make. One of the things that this episode does do, and in that flash forward at the beginning, like we don't know when that happens, but it does kind of put a timeline on things
I'm thinking of I don't know. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
because Walt is celebrating his 52nd birthday in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
The first episode of the show, he celebrates his 50th.
Okay, so there we
So,
go.
so the course of the show is about 2 years, give or take, depending on when that scene actually happens.
Mm,
Because remember that, like, one of the first scenes is he's sitting at the breakfast
the
table with
bacon,
his
yeah.
turkey bacon because we're watching our cholesterol in the shape of
God,
a 50 on his plate.
turkey
Big party
bacon.
was his 50th birthday party, right? The surprise party he was late for because Bogdan kept him at the car wash, where the whole sit and spin happens because we're watching Hank's drug bust. Like, this is all celebrating his 50th. And the start of the fifth season, we see him celebrate his 52nd. So the entirety of the show spans a course of 2 years, give or take.
Where do you think he celebrated his 51st birthday? What season do you think he celebrated that in? Dun dun dun.
I don't remember.
Unless you already know when that 52nd birthday actually happens.
I don't remember if there's an answer to that question or not.
I think it's gonna be there's got to be a couple times because if you obviously he has new facial hair. I don't know if that's a. He's also not wearing a wedding ring in that either. So there's got to be
Oh,
some time that's passed. I would imagine.
I know exactly when that scene pops up in this season, so
Okay,
I'm keeping my
we're
mouth shut
gonna.
on that. I'm just
Okay,
alluding to it
okay, I
and
got you.
pointing out that it did tell us that his 52nd birthday is happening,
Gotcha.
and
That's
I can't remember
mm,
if they ever show his 51st.
okay. And well,
They haven't
that's
showed it yet. We can
yeah.
confirm
I
that.
guess that's not irrelevant. I thought it was more just a fun conversational piece, but at the same time, it
But
just
there's
proves the
something in my
point.
head that where I'm thinking it might be shown, but I honestly don't remember.
Yeah. But it's also kind of like blatantly apparent that it's becoming harder and harder not to watch the next episode. Like I've said this several times. Like it's tough. I have like other shows that have just started seasons, like on Amazon and Hulu, like The Bear and The Boys, which I'll watch, but I'm like kind of want to watch Breaking Bad right now. I don't want to care about the new season of those shows, which are fantastic shows, some of my favorites that of all time too. But I'm like it's Breaking Bad though. This is quickly moving up the charts of like some of my favorite television, and knowing these characters too, which is it's great that a show what going on like over 10 years at this point now, like it has last aired on TV, has still in the forefront, being considered like one of the best TV shows of all time. I don't know where it ranks on your list. I think that's maybe a good, interesting power rankings. I know we do focus a lot on movie stuff, but TV shows, there's a lot of great ones out there, and Breaking Bad has to rank up there. And we're not even done with it for me. I just think I just really intrigued by all the different interesting aspects of the show, because it's really fun
Well,
to
and
discuss.
especially now that we're close to the end, you just
Oh,
want to finish, right? You
that's the hard
just want
part.
to get there. Well, and especially now, like this was such a cool start to a season, and you
Yeah.
just want to know what happens next. Like last night, we watched this episode, and it got over, and my wife was like, "We really have to stop it." Like for the first time, like she's only seen the or the first half of season 5.
Oh,
She
so she's
hasn't
watching
seen.
it too. Okay.
Mhm. And so she's watching it and she
Yeah.
hasn't seen the second half of season 5 yet. So she's
You
looking
know,
forward to finally finishing it.
it's getting good too. When my wife was like, she was visiting a friend today, and she's like, "I'm on my way home. I got to do this, this, and that, but I'm coming home to watch Breaking Bad with you." Because she's like, she knows it's Breaking Bad day, and she's excited to get in. And she still asks her little questions. I'm like, even though she's seen the last season and a half now, um, but it's been. She's like, "Oh, I don't know how I feel about this Walt in this episode. What do you feel?" And we have a little side discussions as well. Uh,
The
but yeah,
sideshow before the sideshow.
it's a yeah, the
The
side
side
chat.
pre-show.
Yeah, the side, yeah. But yeah, it's the sideshow has proved to be just a good conversational piece, because I don't think this is a show that necessarily she even cared for, because she's seen the first season too, but she never really cared for it. But it's something that we're both getting invested in now, so it's a good project that we're doing, and we're way off track. So where are we at?
Well, and I love how we go through it one episode at a time because it
Yeah,
forces you to slow down and analyze. Right?
that is
Like this
true.
is how television was meant to be viewed. Um,
Not
uh,
not all at
binge
once.
watching is great and all, but I love the anticipation and the slow down and the slow analysis of it too. Okay, yeah, we are off track. Let's get back
Yeah,
on track.
but I like
The Gomi minor character goes to
old Joe.
oh yeah
Old Joe. I think that's a given. He comes back in the episode. Or the, the 2, I don't know, does old Joe have the muscle? Like, because there's 2 guys behind him, like, just like, "Yeah, that's awesome," in the background of the junkyard too. I don't know who those guys were, but they definitely loaded that magnet into the van, or into the box truck. They were definitely the muscle, because those guys were pretty cool, though, because they were kinda celebrating the little victory of the laptop being, banged up against the truck too.
yeah, that's a good one. I had like 3 or 4 written down for this. One of them is old Joe because he's just like that actor
Old
is
Joe.
just such a great actor, and old Joe is like the perfect name for a character played by him. So I have him, Beneke. I mean, to
Um,
see
Sad.
his final demise here of where
Yeah, I
he
don't think
ended
we're
up.
seeing him again. Yeah.
Um, and it's like, okay, he finally knows his place for the first time since the baby was born. Um, he knows his place and he
He
knows
knows
what
when
where
to exit stage left finally.
exactly. Lawson is another great
Yeah,
shout
that's a
out.
good one, yeah. Jim
Um,
Beavers, I believe his name is, yeah.
yeah, and you just see him walk in. Like I don't know if you noticed when he
Oh,
first
yeah,
walked
I
into
noticed,
Denny's. I was
yeah.
like, yeah, and like Walt clocked him. It's like,
That's
okay,
my
so he's
guy.
back. That's my
Yeah.
guy. Has a big gun too. Um,
Super big gun.
and maybe that's a stick man. Is that gun?
Yeah.
And then but the
Sir
award is
Manuel?
named. I think I pulled something off the internet. The
Yeah.
award is named for Gomi. Gomi has a great moment here. It's like, just tell me I told you so, so you can get it out of your system.
Good
Uh,
man.
it's I love Gomi, and whenever he pops up, it's a good day.
It's good to see, Hank kinda walking around without a neck brace, which is, I think, well, I'll pump the brakes on this before I go on a little tangent again.
So go
But
for
yeah,
it. Go for it.
well, that's gonna go into the flaws, so
Oh,
we
okay,
can't
okay.
do it until yet, yeah.
All right. So Cowhouse dumbest thing said.
I got a couple things here. Yeah, bitch magnets. I think is the win so far for the season. It's great. Season 1, Jesse back at it at its finest. I've already mentioned one. I see a lot of outcomes and none of them in Miller time. Great, great line. Keys scumbag. The universal symbol for
It's the
keys.
international sign for keys.
My wife said, "No, that's money, please." That's how when she asks me, that's when she does that. And then Skylar's line of, "I'm scared of you." That very conflicted with Skylar's character in this the start of the season because she's worried for his safety. He did something about it, and now she's scared of him. And they hadn't had any interactions up to that point to see the Heisenberg side of him yet until the "I forgive you," but you're scared of him before he even gets to that. Kind of conflicted with it. I guess that goes into a kind of a flaw or kind of a frustrating spot of the Skylar character. But
Well,
I guess I can understand where she's coming from because you literally blew up a guy. Well, you had something to do with the blowing up of a guy and possibly an innocent party or an ex cartel member and some other guy too at an old nursing home. So I can see it, but at the same time, it's like, well, now there's some safety there that those guys are dead.
well, but you also have to remember one of the last times they had a conversation in that bedroom. Walt
Mm.
is saying, "I am the danger. I am the one who knocks."
Ooh,
And now,
good callback. Yeah.
he, two guys are blown up, three guys are blown up and killed. It's over. I won. Like, it's like wow, this is what you're
Wow.
capable of.
Mm,
You are
yeah,
the
good call.
danger.
You are.
So, yeah, those are some great things you shouted out. Yeah, bitch magnets like that's a callback to yes, science. Like
Yes.
that's that,
Yeah, I just want to say, yeah, bitch magnets. We're only on episode 1 of this season. Could be up for early a year-end award for the season.
it's
For this.
it's one of my favorite sayings of the entire show. I'll just throw it out there. Yeah, the international sign for keys is another great one. The last one, it's not really a dumb thing to be said, but it's one of my favorite lines of the whole episode, and it's Hank in the completely blown out lab, and there is the line of your teeth are like popcorn when they get
Yeah,
heated up too much. So
that
there's
was a pretty good one.
that was a good one. But then Hank's follow up to it is, "Fring, you magnificent bastard." It's
Magnificent bastard. It's a good one.
oh, that's a great line. That's a great line.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, not a dumb thing. I thought both those lines were actually really cool things to say. So,
Mhm.
but good shout outs though for sure. In
It,
that
it's some great Gomi Hank. Like whenever Gomi and Hank
banter.
are together, some great banters coming out.
And is it season 5 the return to like season 1 of Gomi and Hank? Like finally, like this is what we've been missing. This show has been really kind of missing is Gomi and Hank, like Starsky and Hutch type of like buddy cop like type of moments. Like that's what I love the Hank and Gomi characters because they had those back and forth banters.
Well,
With
Hank hasn't been in the office since he beat the
correct.
crap out of Jesse after the RV got destroyed.
Correct. There's been a big like blind like missing element, but because the Hank character has changed so much over the last couple seasons,
You get the feeling he's going to be welcomed back after this, though.
I would
And
say so,
since he
with arms wide
knew,
open. Yeah,
I know what's going on.
yeah.
It's the second time I've quoted Almost Famous on this podcast. Problems, flaws, outdatedness. I've got a few things, but go ahead.
Outdated. $3.63 for gas. That's looking pretty damn good at the Falero gas station at the Denny, right across from the Denny's in New Mexico. There, that's great. But so Mike came across Jesse and Walt in Mexico, in New Mexico. There was no time jump there. That was really fast. Unless obviously I think it's not meant to be like as deliberate as it comes across because I think well, no, actually, yeah. It seems super weird. It took Jesse and Gus to walk across the border, but Mike in a car was able to cross the border and meet up with Jesse and Walt randomly in one day.
fair point.
Kind of that. I thought that was like, and they showed them back-to-back scenes, so it was like seemed pretty deliberate. I'm like, did Walt and Jesse go to Mexico, or did he get up here fast? It seemed weird how it was put together.
Yeah, you get the idea that Walt and Jesse, like Jesse, knew where Mike was,
Well, he
and
did know where he was because
yeah,
he was with that.
well, but you get the idea that that's what like there was a missing scene in there, right?
There had
Where
to be,
Walt goes to Jesse and says, "We need to find this laptop." Well, Mike would know where it is. Well, where's he's the only he's the only employee of Gus's that's left. Well, where is he? He's at this
Other
place
than
in
that,
Mexico. I can show you. And
yeah.
so, yeah.
Other than that lucky son of the gun, other than that lucky guy that got us sit in the car when Gus got blown up. That's the only other guy, that no-name
Oh,
guy.
yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah,
So, yeah, it's definitely a scene of convenience,
yeah, and
but it
then
is a cool moment where you've got,
it is.
Walt and Jesse are looking for Mike, Mike's looking for Walt and Jesse, and for two completely opposite reasons, and they run into each other almost
Yeah.
literally in the middle of nowhere.
And then another scene of convenience because they clearly made it the next day. Hank was in a wheelchair with a neck brace in one scene in one season, and the start of this season, he's like walking around in a blown up science lab. It's kind of
Yeah, I don't know if he still
convenient.
needed. I mean, the neck brace was from the car accident. I mean,
Correct.
he
Well, he
needed
didn't
that.
need the wheelchair. He's just probably just resting there. But I think they may have shown a cane. So I can
Yeah, he
just
had some
extend my
sort of cane or crutch or
yeah,
something
what?
when he was
But
down
the neck
in
brace
the
thing is
hazmat
like,
suit.
wait a second, like he's like looking up above his head. Like obviously he was wearing like a neck brace in one scene, and not just like a little minor one. It was a big puffy one. So he's like his mobility was like really not there. I don't
That's
know.
fair. That's fair.
But that's just what I thought too. And then the like the whole thing with Walter, or not, yeah, Walter and Skylar, the kind of like you hadn't quite seen. We have already kind of discussed that stuff too. But the two biggest kind of flaws and kind of uh, television magic, as it were, for those other two ones that I mentioned. But overall, no really complaints for me.
All right, I've got a couple things here.
Okay.
First, problems. I may have mentioned this once before. I don't know, but snapping a flip phone in half, does that really do what they think it does? Because I'm pretty sure the motherboard for the cell phone is not in the hinge between the screen and the keyboard. So, I mean, yeah, you snap in half, it doesn't turn on anymore, but everything is still there. You
That's
just need
not a
to
bad point.
plug it back in. And
Uh,
every show, every movie you see that where the flip phone was around, it's like, oh yeah, I need to destroy my phone. Snap. Like that doesn't really do, you have to actually destroy the phone if you want to destroy what's on the phone. Like, is there a chance that the phone could still be on, just not disconnected from just disconnected from the screen? Could it still be broadcasting out your positioning and GPS? I mean,
that'd be hilarious if that
that
was.
would be really funny. I honestly don't know, but it feels like a flaw.
I don't think that word means what you think it means. To
Yeah,
quote, yeah, the Princess Bride there. I don't think that does
um,
what you think it does.
outdated. This whole episode would not exist today, and it would be over today. The whole show would be over because everything wouldn't be stored on a laptop. It'd be stored in a cloud somewhere
Oh,
and
yeah, I didn't even
impossible to
think
get
about
to.
that.
Like, I'm like, who just stores something locally on a laptop anymore? Everything's on a cloud. You just need to get
What's a
access
cloud?
to
It's out there. Yeah.
GustavoFring@gmail.com. I mean, you get access to that, you've got everything you need. So, yeah.
And are they waiting for a warrant to look in that laptop, you think? Because they obviously had a warrant to go search in the back room of the restaurant. So did they
Yeah,
not
I don't think they need a warrant. I think they were just gathering everything.
go
And
gathering?
maybe
Okay.
Hank, and I don't think they realized there may have been cameras and there may have been stuff stored somewhere.
Well, they
Um,
know that. Well, yeah, that's true. They probably didn't know the camera went straight because they know obviously they saw a camera. Like what is that? So maybe some some kind of device or science device or whatever, some equipment or whatever. That's
and
what.
again, this is kind of, I mean, you have a camera working in the laundry, or cameras working in the laundry, obviously getting passed through the internet, the feed, to his laptop, and then you store it locally. Like, I mean,
Point.
I mean,
Great point.
sure, I'm sure he wants to keep it off the web, but come on, come on.
Yeah.
This would not be how it is done if it were done today. Um, at least you don't think
Mm,
so. So that was
yeah.
my thought. Okay, midlife crisis moment.
Free is always good.
Free is
We've
always
mentioned
good.
yeah, free is always good. I think that's a great
it's
one.
it's
But
it's it's a college age waitress moment. It's also a midlife crisis moment.
it is, yes. But we've already mentioned free food is the best food. So is free drinks as the best drinks. We already mentioned that last season. So I'm going to pick Saul's reference of Hogan's Heroes. I grew up on watching that show. My mom was a big fan of Hogan's Heroes growing up too. We never had like TV or anything. So my mom used to check out from the library old television shows. And Hogan's Heroes was one of them. I grew up on Bonanza and Perry Mason as well. So I've seen a lot of those episodes. Little House on the Prairie is another one, but Hogan's Heroes was probably one of my favorite ones. I know nothing. Great characters, Sergeant Schultz, great, and just a really fun comedy, World War II comedy, which we don't get a whole lot of those. So the Hogan's Heroes, great midlife crisis. I kind of want to revisit that show now.
I never watched Hogan's Heroes,
It's good.
but my house it was MASH.
Oh, this I never seen
Watched
MASH. Never
We
seen MASH.
watched so much MASH.
I think my grandfather watched MASH, but I just never. I was like, yeah, whatever.
That is honestly, that's one still worth watching.
Yeah.
It's again sitcom about a war. It,
Yeah, you don't get a whole lot of those, so I think
no,
those you either watch one or the other. I think that's kind of how it was. Maybe
it's possible. Well, I
a
think
lot more people
Hogan's
watched
Heroes
MASH.
I
I
think is a
think
little older.
probably a little older, yeah,
Yeah.
and a lot more people watched MASH because it was one of the at one point in time it was like the longest running television show, I believe.
It went like
Possibly,
11 seasons, and it was the final episode is still one of the most watched television programs of all time.
yeah, definitely. Okay, good call. Yeah,
Like 120 million people watched the final episode.
wow.
It's insane.
Yeah,
Anyways, yeah, good call on that. Yeah, I've got free is always good. Um, your wife kind of stole one of my midlife crisis moments that no one listens to my ideas. Like I can have an idea and say, "Hey, what about this? What about this? What about this?" And they're not listening, and then all of a sudden they come up with it as if it were their idea. I'm like, you know, we could have done this 20 minutes ago if you would have just listened
yeah.
to me.
Come on.
And the last one I have down, you're getting old when your chickens need names. Hey, make sure Wendell gets something to eat. If Wendell doesn't eat, then none of you eat. Um,
Wendell would have been a stickman. I think Wendell could have been a stickman because if
no, because Wendell is definitely a hen. If
well,
Wendell was a rooster, then there'd be no problem with Wendell getting food. Okay,
well,
let's just put it out there.
okay, but yes, but okay.
Roosters
All
are
right.
mean, man.
That is true. They're just dick. No, look, roosters are douchebags. If Wendell was a rooster, he'd be the douchebag. But
Uh-huh.
okay, anyway, let's not go down this chicken coop. Let's just keep it moving.
LVP, I've got Huel's hot dog fingers.
Oh, good call. I love it. Possible stickman.
I mean, he was
Skylar,
my LVP of last season, so he's good. I got a chance to put him
one
LVP.
more, yeah, one more
Yeah.
mention. I had Skylar down because at first I was like, ah, the the whole kind of like treating like being like afraid of Walt at the beginning of the episode, but at the same time, it's not Skylar's the LVP. It's Heisenberg is the LVP. This smugness of Heisenberg, who's trying to channel his Gus Fring being a little bigger than his britches will allow him to be. I think Heisenberg is the LVP of this episode at this time.
At the same time, I don't think Skylar's a bad pick because
Yeah,
I feel like her character goes through more changes than anybody, right? Like
Very like
there was
yeah,
there was Skylar at the
bipolar.
beginning of the show, right? And then
Mhm.
there was the Skylar of season 4 who was very resourceful and
For the
just
first
like
big half of it, yeah,
yeah,
or
and
three
did all
quarters of it, yeah.
I mean, took care of arranging the buying of the car wash and took care of Ted and took care of the IRS and did all this and was just ruthless.
Yeah,
And now she's this scared puppy and just
yeah,
like cowering in the corner. It's like this isn't the Skylar we just had last season, or even like everything she did with like going to the Four Corners and shutting out Walt and all this stuff. This isn't the Skylar that was his partner in crime. It's a completely
yeah,
different character. It feels like so.
yeah,
That's
that's
not a bad
yeah.
call.
Yeah, but, like, yeah, she's a very bipolar written character, so I can totally understand why people, like, kinda hated this character. It's pretty much the consensus, I would say. I'm not quite at hating her, but at the same time is she's very not balanced
Mm.
in how they write her.
All right, MVP.
Oh, it's Jesse. Jesse's the MVP here. Yeah, magnets, bitch. Or yeah,
I just
bitch,
simply
magnets, yeah.
Magnets is my MVP.
Yeah, good
Like
that magnets is the right call too.
the whole idea of using magnets to destroy an evidence locker, I mean, that's just brilliant. And the way it plays out, and then they're like, just leave the truck. Why not? it's it's just like one of those that it reminded I said it before, it reminded me of building the battery in the desert where it's just like we're gonna science the hell out of this situation and it's gonna be the coolest thing. And they
Yeah,
did. And and I mean, magnets erase that hard drive and it destroys the computer and like and they
mhm,
never actually say it, which I find frustrating, but it erased the hard drive. Like magnets can do that. And but they're just like, "Oh no, it's just gonna grab the laptop and break the screen." Like that doesn't matter. They can still get the hard drive. Magnet
yeah.
erases the hard drive.
It's the same thing you just mentioned. It's them snapping the, cell phone at the hinge.
Right, yeah. But this actually solves the solution too. The magnet should erase the hard drive if it's that powerful.
Yeah,
It kills the computer, it kills everything, and it destroys the physical computer too. So
yeah.
yeah,
I
but
thought of
magnet
another dumb thing too. A dumb
what?
thing said is, "Oh, whoa, what's this? What's this big old bump in the road?" Because he's like, hopping the curb. You're hopping a curb, bud. Like Jesse, like going into the police.
We're like 8 feet from the wall. Is this gonna work? Yeah, we're
So
close enough.
we're close enough. Anyway,
I well, and I
it's funny.
the other thing that is a callback to is Walt and Jesse have grown a lot since stealing a barrel of methylamine.
Oh yeah,
They
roll, roll it.
their burgle skills have advanced
This is
since
true. Good point.
yeah. It's a barrel. Roll it.
Roll it. Come on, Eagle. Dingleberries. Let's go. Good.
All right. So we're gonna talk about what's next. What do you think is coming up next? But first,
Body count.
the Walter White body count is at one Emilio, one Crazy Eight, one Ken Wynn's car, one custodian's career, one Tuco hideout, one lock, one uneaten burrito, one paper towel holder, rot,
Rot.
one back door to Jesse's house, one love of Jesse's life, a few burned $100 bills, a pepperoni pizza, one career in education, one meth making RV, one beginning of a galeful friendship, one fly, two kid killing drug dealers, one Gail Bedecker, one fateful bottle of wine, three laundry worker jobs, one Walter Jr. dream car, one Pinkman living room, one secret underground meth lab, one Gale special coffee maker, two nameless henchmen, one Tyrus, one Hector Salamanca, one Gustavo Fring, and one room full of evidence using magnets, bitch.
Yes, I love how you ended that. Yes, that needs. Yeah, keep that. That's great.
And the Jesse ass kick count remains at 9.5, which means he gets his ass kicked once every 4.9 episodes. We're almost to 1 out of 5 now. We're getting there. We'll see where it goes from here. But what's happening next? We've
Next,
got 15 episodes to go, 7 in the first half of this. Where are we going? What's coming
oh,
up?
man, I want to see Hank realize that his brother-in-law is the guy he's been looking for the entire time. Part of me, well, obviously, they're still looking for stuff, and obviously them breaking that laptop or frying the laptop is not going to give means that somebody else is still out there trying to either save Gus or actually is the cook. Or the person taking who's the next guy in line type of thing. So I don't think Hank's search for the next person is over. So eventually, I think he's going to be on to the next person. I'm kind of interested to see if they even start to cook again because I don't see what the point is right at the moment because things are kind of hot for the cops are very much involved in trying to figure out the whole Gus Fring's situation too. So do Jesse and like Walt cook? I don't know what that looks like, but and how they even would survive in the environment that they currently live in. That can be interesting. And yeah, I want to know how the Hank the interesting things the Hank and Walt dynamic if Hank does realize that Walt is the actual guy, not Gale or Gus. It's going to be kind of fascinating. I don't know who the next big bad guy would be, but we could possibly see kind of more of a rise of the Heisenberg character for this first half, and maybe I don't like again. It's tough because I do know where it ends at a certain point because that's the one thing that has been spoiled. So it could be like the downfall of Heisenberg in this second half of the show. I don't know how they would play that and how that would look, or even if that's even a good idea. And you're not making it any better because you're a blank slate, a blank look. That's where I'll leave before I start digging and completely going off the rails with my guesses. So
Everything you're saying is logical,
could be.
and you have no idea what you're in store for.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, good. I'm excited too, because again, fantastic show, and we have to wait another week before we dive into breaking down where we will be breaking down Breaking Bad.
Breakdown of Breaking Bad.
But before next time, we have to do one thing before we end it, and that is what, Terry?
Sit and spin.
Matt.